What's up, everybody, and welcome back for a brand new video. So the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl 60 champions as they dominate the New England Patriots 29-13. So what I want to do in this video is I want to recap the game, and I really want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks overall and what we saw from them this season, what I expect to see moving forward from the Seahawks. And then I also want to touch on Drake Maye and the postseason that he had this year. So first, let's start by recapping the game. You can look at all the stats you want, and when you look at the numbers for this game, it looks like a close game. But that's on paper. This was total domination by the Seattle Seahawks. And to be honest with you, 29-13 feels much closer than the way that the game felt. I mean, this game felt completely away from the New England Patriots the entire time. This Seahawks defense, they've been elite all year long. And it makes it kind of nuts and makes you wonder what Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, how they're able to just cook against the Seattle Seahawks defense the way that they do, because nobody else can really move the ball on these guys. I mean, the dark side. That defense is the reason that they got to the Super Bowl, right? And Sam Darnold made some big plays in the postseason, took care of the football. Sam Darnold and the offense are a big reason, don't get me wrong. This defense was special. They harassed Drake Maye all night long, which is why I picked Seattle to win this game. I said Sam Darnold will take care of the football. The offense will be able to get the run game going. Clint Kubiak will dial it up. But ultimately, that Seattle defense is going to get after Drake Maye and make his night unbelievably miserable. And that's what happened. And I know a lot of people are going to rip on Drake Maye for their performance. Oh, Drake Maye got exposed. He can't play well against good defenses, whatever people want to say. The reality is their offensive line was awful last night. Where were the receivers? And all of that to me comes down to all leading back to the fact that the Seattle defense is elite. They're absolutely elite, man. And they dominated the game from start to finish. They set the tone right away, and they went after the biggest weakness on this New England Patriots football team, as good as the Patriots are. As much as I've been praising them all year long, saying people are ripping on them, they're not being fair. Right, at the end of the day, they were 4-13, right? You're going to play a rather lighter schedule. It's not their fault that they're playing the schedule that they are. They're just going out there and performing and doing what they got to do, right? They go 14-3. They win 3 playoff games to get to the Super Bowl, so they put in the work, and they went through some good defenses. But the reality is there was a glaring hole, especially in the postseason when they went in there against a good defense. Will Campbell on the left side of the offensive line was a massive problem. It was the Achilles heel of this New England Patriots football team. And I kind of feel bad for the Patriots in a way because their defense, I mean, the way that they played in the postseason, they were pretty good all year long. They just, to me, hit another gear in the postseason, and they were one of the better defenses in the league. I think that they became the third best defense in the postseason, right? You had the Houston Texans, the Seattle Seahawks, and then you had the New England Patriots. I know Denver had a good defense as well, but this defense took off. And they put on what I thought was kind of a heroic effort in a way. And I understand that Seattle scored 29 points, but Christian Gonzalez in this defense, they were flying around and they were doing everything that they could to keep the Patriots in this game. But the bottom line is their offense had nothing for this Seattle defense whatsoever. And the brilliance of Mike Macdonald came into play big time. He sent the house on the left side of that offensive line over and over and over again. It got to a third down, boom. Bringing Devin Witherspoon on a DB blitz. Oh, we're rushing heavy off the left side. No matter what Mike Macdonald did in crucial situations, these big third downs, it would felt like these gotta-have-it moments for New England. Heavy pressure would come off the left side. And listen, man, I like Will Campbell. I think he's a good player. Obviously, he's very young in this league. He's got time to improve, right? Hit the offseason, strength and conditioning, work on some things. He's going to need to put in a lot of work, man, because to me, he was the biggest liability when it came to the New England Patriots on the offensive side of the ball. And the Seahawks attacked a weakness, right? When you got 2 weeks to prepare for the Super Bowl, these coaches are going to come in with these masterful game plans. And to me, this was ultimately Mike Macdonald and Clint Kubiak. They outcoached Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. They outcoached them. They absolutely outcoached him. Now, I know you could say, well, Vrabel, the defense was doing what they had to do, and the offense didn't do anything. To me, it was more so Mike Macdonald and this Seattle defense completely dominated Josh McDaniels and the Patriots offense. And I know the players got to play, but the way that Mike Mack attacked this New England Patriots offense, Josh McDaniels had no answers. Him and Drake Maye had absolutely no answers. They kept being super predictable, dropping straight back in the shotgun, not protecting Drake Maye, knowing that the left side of the offensive line is a problem. You got to leave a tight end in the chip. You got to have the back go out there and help. And it was a disaster all night long. But the reality is, Drake Maye, we saw all postseason long, it was like, just wait. Got away with it against the Chargers because their defense took over the game and dominated Justin Herbert and that offense, right? They had essentially no offensive line that did the Chargers, right? So the Patriots got after him, wrecked the game. Drake Maye put the ball on the deck multiple times, was not taking care of the football, but got away with it because the Chargers offense couldn't do anything. Same exact thing against the Texans, right? And I know that there was some weather going on there, but CJ Stroud basically gave the game away. And once again, the New England defense absolutely balled. But again, all is forgotten because the Patriots win. Drake Maye backs it up by making a few big plays. Then they head to Denver in the AFC Championship game, and while he didn't turn the ball over, he made a couple plays here and there, and I know the weather became a factor late in the ball game. That offense became non-existent, and I know that they were going up against good defenses, but that's why I didn't pick them to win this game. I picked Seattle to win this game. I said 27-20, so I was off with the score, but I knew Seattle was going to win this game. And that's one thing that I definitely think is a big factor is the fact that Vrabel and McDaniels were really outcoached, especially Josh McDaniels. He was very much outcoached, man. I don't know what his game plan was. They couldn't really run the football, which I understand. And anytime, a lot of people don't seem to understand this. If you can rush 4 like Seattle did, and you could drop 7 into coverage, and you can't find a way to get the run game going, and you can't find a way to protect the quarterback, you're screwed. You're going nowhere, especially against a really good defense like Seattle who could cover all over the place, bring different, exotic blitzes in a timely manner because Mike Mack doesn't blitz a lot. But when they do, it's usually very, very effective, and that's what we saw from Devin Witherspoon twice, right? He got a sack, then 1 tackle for loss in the backfield. Derek Hall, I mean, you talk about one of the best, if not the best GM in the National Football League, it's got to be John Schneider, which, by the way, not only is he an amazing GM, but he's one of the only GMs in the National Football League that has won multiple Super Bowls with a different head coach at the helm each time. And then also, I think he's the only one who's won 2 different Super Bowls with 2 different coaches, and then also a completely different roster for both Super Bowl teams. That is a heck of a GM that Seattle has in John Schneider, and I've been saying he's one of the best, if not the best in the league. The trades, free agent acquisitions, right? Drafting well, hitting on so many draft picks. I mean, look at all the guys that they've drafted that have turned out to be stellar players in the league. And moving on from DK Metcalf, that turned out to be one of the best decisions that they could have made, right? Taking that draft pick, I think they used that pick to get Nick Emanwari, right? Who to me is very much like a Cam Chancellor type of player. A Derwin James, a Kyle Hamilton, a big physical guy that can come down into the box, and he's an X factor on the defensive side of the ball. And I know he was playing banged up last night, hustling around, still making plays. He is a guy to really keep your eye on moving forward. I thought he should have been the defensive rookie of the year. I know Schlesinger had a great year in Cleveland, but Nick Emanwari is that dude, man. And this defense, I mean, Derek Hall had 2 sacks. Right, you look up, there's Mafe, there's Hall, there's Murphy, there's Leonard Williams, and it's just a harassing thing to deal with, and that's what they did to the New England Patriots all night long, harassed them, right? And when you look at the offensive side of the ball for Seattle, it was going to start and stop with the run game, right? And this New England defense, what did they do a great job of in the postseason this year? They shut down the run. What did they do to Justin Herbert and the Chargers? Took away the run game, rushed the passer well. And against the Houston Texans, a team that was running the ball very, very well, most of the season, and especially against Pittsburgh in the wild card round, they couldn't do anything on the ground against New England, right? And one of the big reasons for that was one of the best free agent signings of the offseason last year was Milton Williams, right? New England going out and getting Milton Williams. And when he's in the lineup, just the difference that it made in stopping the run. But the way Clint Kubiak was dialing it up last night, that is why I'm excited for the Raiders to get Clint Kubiak in the building to work with Ashton Genty and get the run game going, because that zone run scheme that he brings to the table, it just opens so many things up. And when you give a very explosive and dynamic back like Kenneth Walker space to operate and you allow him to really read the field, almost like a quarterback going through his progressions, you hand him the ball, you let him kind of wait, be patient, make the reads, bounce outside, inside, where do I go? And you got a problem to deal with. And the craziest thing to me is they lost Charbonnet, right? Charbonnet got hurt late in the season, right? So down he goes, and you had the perfect 1-2 punch with those guys. And Kenneth Walker, as I said, was going to get a heavy, a heavy workload in the Super Bowl. He was going to get a heavy workload in the NFC Championship game, ride Kenneth Walker, ride the defense to the Super Bowl, 27 carries for 135 yards for Walker, and K9 wins Super Bowl MVP. I've been saying he's one of the best backs in the league for sure. He's explosive. He's dynamic. He was the difference maker on the offensive side of the ball for Seattle in the Super Bowl. JSN made a couple catches, but he got banged up. And then after that, it just didn't really feel like he was necessarily himself. But when you can run the football like that, the big dudes up front in Seattle, they create a lot of movement. They create a lot of gaps. They do a great job in the run blocking. That was the difference for me. And Sam Darnold, you talk about an unbelievable story. Sam Darnold is a guy that I absolutely loved at USC. I didn't like him getting drafted by the Jets because, as I say, as a lot of people say, it just feels like that's where you go for your career to die, is to be a young quarterback in New York for the Jets. It's just a horrible situation to be. And Sam Darnold, right, the Jets basically give up on him. They send him to Carolina. Carolina doesn't really see anything, right? Gets beaten out basically by Baker Mayfield. Goes in, as a backup in San Francisco in a Kyle Shanahan offense, which I think was really great for Sam Darnold to sit back, learn, be around a brilliant mind, takes a lot of mental reps. Then he heads to Minnesota, gets an opportunity to start, leads the Vikings to a 14-3 season where he absolutely balled. And the Vikings made the biggest mistake in the history of their franchise, and also one of the dumbest mistakes we've seen a franchise make in the past several years in the NFL, in my opinion, by letting Sam Darnold walk out that door. The fact that they thought J.J. McCarthy is the long-term answer is beyond me. I've been saying J.J. McCarthy is going to be a bust since the beginning of time, but that's a topic for another video. The point is, they didn't see enough. They weren't willing to go all in on Sam Darnold. Why? Well, he had a great year. We got to the playoffs, and look how it went down against the Rams. So then the Seattle Seahawks, John Schneider, Mike McDonald, Clint Kubiak, they believe in Sam Darnold. They bring him in, and in his first season in Seattle, they go 14-3. They get the number one seed in the NFC. They blow out the 49ers in the divisional round, and then they beat the Rams in the NFC Championship game. And what was a shootout to where Sam Darnold, he went tooth and nail with Matthew Stafford in a game where the Seattle defense didn't ball out, to where the run game didn't ball out, and Sam Darnold had to go out there and make plays. And I understand the Rams secondary, they got exposed, especially the back half of the season and in the postseason. But still, and Sam Darnold put the team on his shoulders in that game. And Sam Darnold is a big reason that they got to the Super Bowl. The defense, Sam Darnold taking care of the football. And what's crazy is Seattle had 28 turnovers in the regular season, which I think was second most in the league, right behind the Minnesota Vikings, who I think had 30, if I'm not mistaken. No turnovers in the postseason. They're the first Super Bowl champ to go through the whole postseason with no turnovers. That's impressive. And that's the difference maker. And Sam Darnold in the postseason, 71% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, no turnovers, and a 102.4 rating. That's going to get it done. And one of the things that I love about the Seattle Seahawks is not only did they believe in Sam Darnold, who always had the skills and ability, he just needed the right situation. And that's what you saw when he went to Minnesota. They had an offensive line. They had a run game. They had a creative play caller. He had a defense to back him up. He had playmakers on the perimeter to help him out. And Seattle was very much the same situation. Darnold showed you what he could do in Minnesota with a good football team to support him. And then the Seattle Seahawks bring him in, and, they're not paying him elite quarterback money. So they have all this money to work with and spend to acquire these different assets that, to me, is just going to make the Seattle Seahawks a force to be reckoned with for years to come, man. For years to come. And he's the first quarterback from the 2018 draft to win a Super Bowl. That crazy draft with Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. So for Sam Darnold to be the one that wins the Super Bowl first, I don't think anyone saw that coming. Right, and I'm a guy, I've been a Sam Darnold believer. Now, I've had my questions, right, given when it's specifically against the LA Rams. And I've had my concerns of when you sit there and everyone's saying, tell Sam Darnold, just manage the game. Don't blow it, man. Don't blow it. You got to be careful telling a quarterback that. Because to me, what I was seeing from Sam Darnold, especially in that second Rams game in the regular season, even though, and I was like, his confidence, it's going to just go to another level from here. The team that's kind of had his number, right, threw 4 picks against him the first game in the regular season. You come back, in the second game, you lead, an overtime comeback victory, all those things. I was like, his confidence is just going to go to another level, and he's going to overcome this, the Rams. They fool me, and he turns the football over a lot against the Rams. Didn't in the NFC Championship game. And to me, we saw Sam Darnold, not only, one of the greatest stories we've seen, in my opinion, in the history of sports, his comeback story, the way that he's just kind of written his way here and writing, his own book. It's incredible, man. It's incredible. He found a place that believed in him, right? And they bring him in. They put the pieces around him. He's got playmakers all over the place, like Cooper Kupp last night, 6 catches for 61 yards. Right? He was massive, man. And Darnold wasn't great, but he managed the game. There's certain games, and that's what I love about Sam Darnold, man, is he understood, okay, listen, the defense, they're not, Matthew Stafford shredding them. I'm going to have to put on my cape and make some things happen. And he did that in the NFC Championship. But then for an example like the Super Bowl, he understands, okay, look, don't put the ball in harm's way here. And that, to me, is the evolution that we've seen in the game of Sam Darnold, realizing take care of the football, make good decisions. He went 19 of 38, 202 yards, and 1 touchdown. Not going to wow you. Made a couple plays with his legs here and there. Not going to wow you, but he managed the game. He managed the game, and he understood the assignment. This New England offense has nothing for our defense. And New England's got a pretty good defense, and they got a pretty good opportunistic defense that's, forced, offenses to make a lot of mistakes this postseason. So let me take care of the football. Through a couple really tight coverage throws early in the game. And I'm like, man, whoo, that almost got picked off. Be careful there, Sam. But at the end of the day, Sam Darnold shut a lot of people up this year, man. He shut a lot of people up this year. Did I think that he would win a Super Bowl before those other guys in the 2018 draft? No, I didn't, and I don't think anybody did. But the fact that Sam Darnold wins a Super Bowl, I'm not surprised in that sense, given what I saw in Seattle this year. And I picked them to win the NFC. I picked Seattle to win the NFC because of what I saw from Darnold in Minnesota, what I saw Mike McDonald and John Schneider doing in Seattle, the way they were hitting on the draft picks, the trades that they were making, the guys that they were bringing in, getting rid of Russell Wilson, to get all that draft capital, and how all those picks have really panned out. They have a well-ran organization in Seattle. I thought it was going to be the Seahawks and the Bills, so I was kind of close. To be fair, I probably still, given the way it was looking, I was saying that the Bills were probably going to win it all. But at the end of the day, I did pick the Seahawks to get to the NFC, man. So I'm happy about that. Made me look good. But at the end of the day, Mike McDonald, I keep saying I'm a Ravens fan. He's the one that got away. He's the one that got away. And the job that he's done in Seattle is absolutely special, man. The Seahawks are going to be good for years to come. When you can hit on draft picks like they do, and then you can find diamonds in the rough who are, undrafted free agents, guys late in the draft that no one really saw a whole lot in, and you bring them in and you turn them into something. That is what the Seattle Seahawks have done such a great job of over the years. Even when Pete Carroll was there, now with Mike McDonald, he's a brilliant mastermind on the defensive side of the ball. It is a perfect fit with him in Seattle. And listen, man, the Seahawks, they had a heck of a season. The defense was elite. I expect them to be really, really good again next season. They're going nowhere, man. They got all the pieces. They got money to work with. And you got a great coach and a great GM. The future is very bright in Seattle. And I think, listen, man, I'm not saying like dynasty, so to speak, but this is a team that's going to be in it every single year now. And Sam Darnold going out here winning a Super Bowl, doing what he did in the postseason, balling, toe-to-toe with Matt Stafford to get it done in the NFC Championship game. This is a team to me that is only going to get better from here. And listen, man, shout out to Sam Darnold. His story's incredible. He's a guy that I always believed him. Did I think he would win the Super Bowl before Lamar, Allen? I didn't think Baker would win a Super Bowl, but you know what I mean? Like Allen and Lamar, those are 2 of the elite guys in the league. Sam Darnold wasn't looked at as one of the elite guys. Sam Darnold, to me, is a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. He proved that this year. His numbers are outstanding. I know he turned the football over a lot during the regular season, but when it mattered most in the postseason, he understood the assignment, take care of the football, get the run game going, and Clint Kubiak is a big reason. He's heading to Vegas. I'm excited for the Raiders. That's going to be a big loss for Seattle, man, because he's one of the best offensive minds in the game right now. The way that he was just kind of setting up New England with the zone run, they hit that touchdown to Barner on the corner route. That was basically being set up all game long. Kubiak is a mastermind. And while Sam Darnold, he was fantastic this year, I think Clint Kubiak, he did a great job with Sam Darnold in this offense as well, putting him in good positions, getting the ball into the hands of the playmakers, scheming things up, adding Rashid Shaheed at the trade deadline, one of the best moves of the year. The Seattle Seahawks are going to be a force to reckon with moving forward. But before we go, man, we got to talk about Drake Maye real quick. Because obviously Mike Vrabel, he's one of my favorite head coaches in the league. I think he's one of the best in the business. I've always thought that. And I still think one of the dumbest moves we've seen was the Titans moving on from Mike Vrabel. I never got that. But the point here is, yeah, Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year. The New England Patriots were 14-3 a year ago. They go 14-3 this year. They win 3 games in the playoffs. They get to the Super Bowl, and nobody really had them in the Super Bowl. And for them to go out there and beat the Chargers, beat the Texans, beat Denver, 3 really outstanding defenses, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. When you look at the teams they beat, it was a depleted Chargers offensive line. It was a struggling Houston offense where they were banged up as well. And then Bo Nix didn't play in the AFC Championship game. And I said right after the game, I'm not hating on New England. I picked them to win most of those games. I'm just like, come on, man. There feels like there's an asterisk next to all these games. As good as the defense was playing, the defense was for real, but the offense was my problem. The New England offense was my problem. That's why I couldn't pick him in this game. 4 games played in the postseason for Drake Maye. About a 57% completion percentage. 6 touchdowns, 8 total turnovers, 21 sacks taken, about an 81 rating. I think that's 87 or 81% or 50, either 57 or 51% completion. I can't remember the exact number. Somewhere in there, 50-something. The bottom line is Drake Maye was not the MVP caliber player in the postseason that we saw during a regular season. He did not play that way in the postseason, man. And I understand that they faced some really good defenses, but that was one of the big knocks was look at the strength of schedule. And now when they had to face these really good defenses, look what happened. Look what happened. He was putting the ball on the deck a lot. He's got a really bad habit of the pockets barreling down into his lap. The pass rush is getting to him. And then he's just trying to force throws, and he's getting hit and fumbling. And you saw Nwosu pick one up or grab one and run it back for a touchdown. So getting the defensive touchdown was massive for the Seattle Seahawks, man. So I think there's going to be a lot of questions on Drake Maye moving forward. He had an outstanding regular season, led the league in completion percentage, very efficient, pushing the football down the field with accuracy. And like I said, I was disappointed in the New England receiving corps. Like, I didn't think that Drake Maye had much help last night. So I'm not saying that this is all on Drake Maye and the way the offense looked in the postseason, but I will say that it's concerning. Because to me, this was an offensive line that looked pretty good, but they obviously got some retooling to do up front. So what that is exactly, they got to address the left offensive side of the line. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Will Campbell, how to help him out, how to make him better. They got to make some changes up front, and I think that they got good skill position players. They're a young group. I think that they're still going to be in the mix, and they're going to be very good again next year. And as long as Mike Vrabel is there and Josh McDaniels is the OC, like, this team is going to have a chance every single year. But to me, this was a mismatch coming into the Super Bowl. I had always said whoever wins the NFC, given that it was what the landscape was when we saw come to the playoff time, Seattle, Rams, those were the teams that whoever wins there and can make it through the NFC is going to win the Super Bowl. And that's what ended up happening, man. And I rode with the Seahawks because of that defense, because of how well Sam Darnold was playing, because of the run game with Kenneth Walker, and how good the coaching is in Seattle and how outstanding it was this year. I think the Seahawks are really going to miss Clint Kubiak next year. So that's going to be an important hire to see what Seattle does at the OC spot, because they're going to return a lot of guys. I think they're going to bring a lot of people back. They got a great running game, great offensive line. They are very good everywhere. They got playmakers all over the place. It was a fun year to watch the Seattle Seahawks. In my opinion, the New England Patriots very much overachieved this year, so I think that this was a success for them. I'm just hoping that this isn't a situation for Drake Maye where it's like with the Bengals and Joe Burrow, to where so early in his career, he gets to the Super Bowl to where the bar is now here, and Drake Maye's still a very young quarterback, man, still a very young player in this league. But when the bar gets set here, now you got to find a way, to kind of meet that bar each and every year. And there was no Lamar, there was no Joe Burrow, there was no Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. So the postseason, the gauntlet in the AFC is only going to get tougher. So it's going to be fun to watch. Seattle, obviously the NFC West, their division's incredible. I love what I saw from the Seahawks this year. To me, them and the Rams, I think it's going to come down to them once again in the 2026 season to see who is going to win the NFC. Going to be a fun offseason to watch, free agency, the draft, some of the coaching hires that get made. I love what I saw from the Seahawks this year. Couldn't be any happier for Mike Macdonald. He's the one that got away from my Ravens, man. I'm super happy for Macdonald. The job he's done in Seattle is incredible. The revival of Sam Darnold's career, the job that he's done, how he, was just a leader, right? Doing whatever it takes to win. His teammates love him. Adding Ernest Jones, like all the pieces that they've done, man. Seattle's just so well ran. I love watching the Seahawks. I love the 12th man. I love Lumen Field. I love everything that I saw from the Seahawks this season. They're a great franchise. And the New England Patriots will be back, man. But to me, this was a mismatch. The Seattle Seahawks, clearly the better team. The New England offense, to me, came limping into this game. They were heavily dependent upon their defense. And that's why you saw Vrabel calling the game he did, right? Getting overly aggressive on defense, knowing that we're going to have to probably score with our defense to have a shot in this game. But shout out to the Seahawks. Unbelievable, man, to go out there and do what they did this year. First year for Sam Darnold in Seattle, and they go out there, get the 1 seed, and win Super Bowl 60. Beyond impressive, but I think there's going to be a lot of question marks surrounding Drake Maye heading into the 2026 season. I love what I saw from the Seahawks this year, man.